And we are back for some sort of Unserious Q&A. Why is Jaime the only one that remembers Rickon? The loss of Rickon was hard. Everyone deals in different ways. I mean, except for Sansa and Arya and Bran. But it's nice to see that Rickon made an impression on Jaime.
Rickon, isn't it?
How do I say goodbye to what we have? The good times that made us laugh outweigh the bad. I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Rickon.
What physics-defying magic is Arya using to block a longsword with a fencing rapier? Needle would be scrap afterwards, if it was even in one piece. Well, this is very true. A sword as thin as Arya's would break very easily. That is, unless Needle isn't actually made with regular steel. We really have to conclude that Needle is Valyrian steel. There is a popular theory that Jon was actually climbing up the castle walls and sneaking into Ned's bedroom to steal ice at night. He would then shave off little bits of ice every night until he had enough metal for Needle. The idea is that Kat saw him climbing in the window, and that's one of the reasons she doesn't like Jon so much. And it really makes the line, "Jon, it should have been you," make sense. As it stands, Kat's claim that Jon should have fallen instead of Bran and been put in a coma is beyond random. This theory would make Jon a climber as well, and would also explain how Jon climbed the wall so easily. Do you think this is the last we've seen of Mira Reed? Do you think she might return with someone else we keep hearing about and never meet? Howland. Or is it too late to introduce a new main character to the show? I'm not sure if you caught it, but Howland Reed was in seasons 5 and 6, which actually makes Mira's return to Greywater Watch a bit more depressing. What do you think of the theory going around now about Lady Stoneheart walking in the background right before Arya and Brienne's training scene? Ah yes, you must be referring to this.
You swore to serve both my mother's daughters.
I'm completely on board, but you're forgetting this important scene.
He didn't beat the hound.
And this scene.
Don't lunge.
Or this scene.
Don't go where your enemy leads you.
Or this scene.
Good thing we're friends, or we'd be fucking you in the ass right now.
If you could write a Sweet Robin scene for season 7, what would it be? Follow up. Who would you ship Sweet Robin with? Sansa? Arya? Lyanna Mormont? Our Westerosi allies are dead or captured. To the people of Westeros, my people, I look exactly like a foreign invader. I need more alliances. Westerosi alliances. You're supposed to be my expert on the lords and ladies of Westeros. Who should I seek out? Well, there is one house that hasn't chosen sides yet. A powerful house. A powerful lord, if not a bit green. My relationship with this house, though, is, complicated. When is it not complicated with you? Who is this powerful lord? Little man, I could hardly believe the maester when he said you'd written. Tell me, why should I not have you killed? The queen to the south claims you killed Joffrey, and my lady mother put you on trial for trying to kill, who was it? The brother of the king in the north? You are a well-hated man. If you remember, the gods found me innocent of the attack on Brandon Stark, and if I recall, guilty of the murder of Joffrey Baratheon. You never liked Joffrey. No, I didn't. I remember once playing with Tommen. He took our dolls away and accused us of being girls, and then threatened to make us girls. Joffrey was a little shit. Tommen was the kinder boy, your friend if I recall. I didn't like Tommen either. I didn't like anyone in your family much at all. Well, Myrcella wasn't so bad. Who killed my father? I don't know. I assume your father died of natural causes. My Uncle Peter told me that your brother and sister poisoned my father. Littlefinger is... Correct. My brother and sister killed your father, and I am here to offer you vengeance. An alliance. A marriage alliance? No, just an alliance. Do you know my house words, imp? As high as honor, I believe. And do you know why we are as high as honor? Because the Arryns descended from the winged knight, who soared through the clouds. You see, we could once fly. We were once the greatest house in the Seven Kingdoms, and we are destined to be that again. We are destined to fly again. And I only know one person who can make that happen for me. My lord, Queen Daenerys has many possible suitors, and none with an army as large as mine or granaries as deep as mine. Winter is upon us. You can help me fly, or you can starve. A 17-year-old boy is your best marriage offer. I mean, technically he's a man grown. You could do worse. You have done worse. I am a queen. I am not something to be sold. No, of course not. You are not being sold. This is your choice. But you also have no choice. He does have all of the food. Taking into consideration actual plot story, all the training, time jumps, and mystical time travel and troop movements, realistically, how long do you think the story is taking place in Westeros real time? Well, let me think about this. We know that the first season takes place over the course of about a year since Dany gets pregnant and then gives birth during this season. And then we have the comet, so we kind of know that all of the timelines in our story are lined up. Then in Season 3, Episode 7, Talisa says that the War of the Five Kings has been going on for 2 years. So it looks like for these early seasons that it's about 1 year to a season. So we're at about 2 3/4 seasons when Talisa says this. So in Season 4, Roose then returns to the Dreadfort after the Red Wedding, which should take about a month. And then Theon and Ramsay head down to Moat Cailin and back to Winterfell, each trip taking about a month. So Season 4 could actually be pretty fast and only take about 3 months. After 4 seasons, we're at about the 3-year mark. But then in Season 5, we hear that Fat Walda is pregnant and she gives birth right after Sansa's escape, so assuming that Fat Walda got pregnant around the time of the Red Wedding, we're looking at Season 5 being at least 6 months. So we're at 3.5 years. And then Season 6 happens. Theon travels to Pike, which takes about a month, and then flees to Slaver's Bay, which would take many months, maybe 4. Or we can look at Varys, who travels to Dorne at some point and back to Slaver's Bay. Or we can look at Sansa, who travels to the Wall, hangs out, and then travels around the north, gathering forces. All in all, 6 months seems a good estimation for Season 6. So we're at 4 years. Then Season 7 happens. Cersei contacts Euron, who sails to King's Landing, which would take a few months, and then finds and destroys the Greyjoy fleet, and then returns to King's Landing, and then sails to Casterly Rock to destroy the rest of the Targaryen fleet. Or we can look at Grey Worm, who travels from Slaver's Bay to Dragonstone and then all the way around to Casterly Rock. So we're looking at about half a year so far for this season, and about 4.5 years for the total story. This means Sam took 6 months to get to Old Town, Arya trains at the House of Black and White for less than a year. Also, Jaime spent a few months in Dorne doing something. The Freys only hold Riverrun for about 10 or 11 months, and then the Blackfish conquers it and holds it for 4 or 5 months. Euron built his entire fleet in only about 5 months. Bran spends a year to get to the Three-Eyed Raven, but only a few weeks getting back. Bran spends a year training at the cave, and Mira spends a year just hanging out. And Gilly's baby is over 3 years old. I love you. Why would you show my favorite hooker like that again? Well, it's rather important to follow the Roz story. She's almost certainly going to return. After all, she was born in a brothel, born of salt and smoke, the smoke of the opium and the salt of the semen. And she is a red star that bled. I would say it's safe to assume she's the princess that was promised. She is Azor Ahai. What do you think happened to the soldiers Arya camped with? Really wanted to see her murder Ed Sheeran. Well, realistically, it's been a couple months since Arya saw Ed Sheeran in the Riverlands, so his mission to find out what happened to the twins should be well and over. And since the Lannisters needed every last man to take Highgarden, I imagine Ed Sheeran was part of this group. And while I joked about Ed Sheeran's name actually being Ned Shireen, yeah, there's a pretty good chance he ended up just like Shireen. You know, with grayscale. In the Dragonstone Cave, is that a carving of a scorpion aimed at a flying dragon? Or chicken? I mean, I guess this cave doodle that Jon did right before Dany came in could be a crossbow focused at a Targaryen sigil. Then again, it could be focusing on the fact that north of the Wall, toilet water flushes in a different direction than down on Dragonstone. But I think the prevailing theory right now is that Jon was doodling an octopus's asshole. And I think we've wasted enough time for now. I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.